Okay, so I'm back again. I wanted to tie up my hair, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about the face. So again, you want to have enough space on your palette. You can even have a larger palette. I recommend students to have a really large palette when they're first starting out, so they can mix their colors, and to have two glasses if they're using water acrylics, to have two glasses of water, two different jars where they can clean their brushes. You need two, one for your light and your dark colors. Of course, you need a rag to dab your brush off so it's not dripping when you put it directly on the canvas. And the same if you're using oils. You do need a little bit where you can have your linseed oil and your terpenoid where it doesn't get dirty. So if you have one for the darker colors and one for the lighter colors, it doesn't make your colors get muddy. The next thing that you have to think about is you're making a base, and that means that you're making a base for the whole face. So you're thinking about what colors do you see in the face, because the face is just not one tone. Remembering that in the face there are sometimes, no matter what complexion you are, you might see blues, greens, yellows, and reds, and you really don't need to use a lot of dark black paint when you're painting the face. When the colors are darker, it sticks to the blues, the browns, and the purples to make it a little bit more realistic. Also, you want to mix colors, different colors with your skin tone, and I'll show you how to do that, and we're going to start on doing that now. And the other thing is, you're going to have to make sure not only do you have enough space, but that you have enough paint. It's really frustrating if you don't have the color that you're starting with, and it dries, and then you have to remake it again, and you don't have the blending correctly. So the first step that we're going to do is we have mostly white, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of red, and I'm going to move it all into my white paint, and I'm kind of going back and forth. And what I'm looking for is a very, very light pink. I don't want the pink to be too dark. I want it to be a very, very light pink. In class, we did gradation scales. You know, you can look at your gradation scale to see the color pink. And I'll do screenshots again of this for the students. You can see it's a very light pink. I'm just going to make it just a little bit darker, so you can barely see it. It's very light here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some yellow to it. And the color that I'm looking for is a very light color, peach color. Very, very light. And again, I'll do screenshots again so you can see the colors better with the video. So the reason why you want to have the first color is being a light peach color, because this is someone of a lighter complexion. We did someone of a darker complexion before. So we'll start with the lighter complexion. And then what we'll do is we need enough of that paint, because we're going to have to put some browns, and we're going to have to put shadows in that peach color to make it dark. And we don't want to have it too dark, right? We want to have it subtle, and then we want to build it up to some areas where then it gets really, really dark, maybe for the shadows under the face. So I'll show you that. So for an example, we have mostly pale here, and then we have darker, and then we've added more browns. So what I want to do is I want to start with my large paintbrush, and I recommend, you can have 2 or 3, you know, this happens to be a 4, so a little bit larger, and I'm using it because it's basically great for the size of my canvas. Also, the bristles are not very short. You see, they're a little bit long, so they're a little bit flexible, so that when they hit the canvas, they can kind of sponge back. And that's what I want. And I dipped it in my solvent, which would have been water, and now I'm just going to make this shape of the face. So I'm going to do both of these over again. I'm going to go dark to light and light to dark. And I want to kind of cover the whole face as much as I can with this brush. And I also want to give this person a neck. So I kind of have my shaped face. You can barely see it there. And I'm going to make it a little bit darker for this video. And we're just doing the outline of the main shape of the face. Now again, the person could have an oval face, they could have a round face. You really want to think about that perspective ahead of time. And when you're doing this, your portrait, you want to think about where the hair is going to be in relationship to the face. And the features, obviously. So I have my shape of the face there, and you can kind of see I'm outlining it with my brush. It's here. So I'm going to make it a little bit darker so we can kind of see these outlines. And what I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of a shadow on the neck area, and then I'm bringing in a little bit of this brown, and I'm kind of moving it just where I kind of have an idea of where the shape of the face is. And again, because this is a video, you know, I'm making this a little bit darker here on the video so you can see, right? So I have the shape of this face, okay? The next thing that I want to think about doing is I want to think about those light areas that we spoke of, and I'm going to make the face a little bit darker. And again, you want to have your paint set up. You want to have your light, your dark tones here. You want to have everything ready to go, because the worst thing is now we're working wet on wet. With oils, they stay wet. But with acrylics, because they dry so fast, you want to be able to have those colors where you can go back to them. So it's always better to make more colors than less. You'll never go wrong with having more paint. You can always save it. So we have our shape of our face there, okay? Then the next thing is, remember, when the paintbrush is too hard to move, we can dip it in our water, right, and go back, or Turpenoid, or whatever it is. So this is the shape, and then I'm just kind of putting in the shape here for these ears, and that would be step 1, okay? So I'll come back to you with the next step in the next video.